and welcome to this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. I am Megara Vijayamana.
And I am Tharindu Amalasekara. This is the sound of profitability.
As central bank data shows, Sri Lanka continued to record a surplus in the current account in the third quarter of 2024. This was as new borrowings for bilateral lenders were halted and debt repayments continued for multilateral lenders while foreign reserves were built. Sri Lanka recorded a $303 million surplus in the current account in the third quarter, which was down from $432 million in the second quarter. The financial account was and capital accounts were $303 million negative. This was after subject to errors and omissions. A country will run a current account deficit if it gets foreign investments and borrows abroad for domestic investments.
Sri Lanka's construction sector expanded at a rate of 51.4% in November despite severe weather conditions hampering the work schedules. This is according to the data from the Purchasing Managers Index of the central bank. Quantity of purchases index remained neutral during the month 50 in November from 51.4 in October, indicating that the material purchases stayed at a similar level as in the previous month. Suppliers' delivery time further lengthened during the month, registering 51.5 in November from 51.4 in October. The outlook for construction activities for the next 3 months remains positive.
Sri Lanka's current foreign exchange inflows of $2,101 million have exceeded its imports by $604 million in November 2024. This was as data indicated by the central bank. Current inflows were made up of $994.1 million of exports, $576 million of services including tourism of $272 million and official worker remittances of $530 million. Since most private citizens are net savers for inflows to turn into outflows, the banking system has to give credit for investments to spend the money which will turn into imports. Investment goods and base metals have been gradually picking up over 2023 and 2024 after sharply falling along with the private credit contraction. Services outflows have also been gradually picking up, where services outflows were $285.3 million, up from $193.3 million last year, of which travel abroad was $68.9 million this year.
Sri Lanka's Inland Revenue Department announced that it has collected a total taxes of 1.95 trillion rupees in 2024. This is on record the highest ever collected and a 25% increase compared to 2023. Income tax collection reaches rupees 1.023 billion in 2024, marking an increase of rupees 112.1 billion compared to the previous year. The value-added tax also demonstrated substantial growth, with revenue increasing by rupees 245.5 billion to rupees 714.7 billion. The Social Security Contribution Levy generated rupees 187 billion, while the Gaming and Betting Levy added rupees 14.9 billion to the total tax revenue. Additionally, the Share Transaction Levy contributed to rupees 3.1 billion. The IRD also reported collecting rupees 14.8 billion in taxes remitted to provincial councils and rupees 271 million from other tax sources.
Time for the corporate highlights.
Sri Lanka's construction sector expanded at a rate of 51.4% in November despite severe weather conditions hampering the work schedules. This is according to the data from the Purchasing Managers Index of the central bank. The divestment will enable a financial restructuring that will strengthen the group's balance sheet, enhancing its financial resilience. The company said the transaction will sharpen its focus on core growth areas, optimize resource allocation, and position the business for sustained value creation. Rainforest Tea Factory Private Limited is a subsidiary of Hunas Holdings plc with a shareholding of 90%.
South Asia Gateway Terminals, a unit of Sri Lanka's John Keel Holdings, said it handled more than 2 million containers in 2024, which is twice more than its original capacity of 1.1 million boxes. The terminal is able to handle 2 million 20-foot equivalent units due to the investments in technology and people, according to Chief Executive Romesh David. SAGT stated the marine and other divisions of Sri Lanka Ports Authority, internal and external providers of trucking and lashing services have contributed to reaching this target. The 2 million throughput has ranked SAGT among the best terminals in the world on the productivity indicator of TEU per hectare of yard, as stated by the firm. Here's the ESG update of the week.
News from the ASEAN region. Indonesia's biodiesel allocation for 2025 was increased up to 15.6 million kiloliters. This means their mandatory biodiesel blend has now been increased up to 40%, with a further allocation of an increase up to 50% by 2026. Biodiesel producers and fuel retailers have until February 28, 2025 to adapt to the new B40 blend due to technical challenges related to fuel subsidies, according to senior ministry official Enia Listiani Devi. The 2025 biodiesel allocation comprises of 7.55 million kiloliters for public service obligations covering subsidized sectors such as public transportation, and 8.07 million kiloliters allocated at market price with no subsidy to bridge the price gap between palm oil and fossil fuels. This policy underscores Indonesia's commitment to reducing fossil fuel dependence while maintaining support for domestic palm oil production and biodiesel expansion. Time for the international highlight of the week.
Microsoft is planning to invest about $80 billion in the fiscal year 2025 on developing data centers to train artificial intelligence models and deploy AI and cloud-based applications. Investment in AI has surged since OpenAI launched ChatGPT in 2022 as companies across sectors seek to integrate AI into their products and services. AI requires enormous computing power, pushing demand for specialized data centers that enable tech companies to link thousands of chips together in clusters. Microsoft has been investing billions to enhance its AI infrastructure and broaden its data center network.
That's it for LOLC Securities weekly market roundup. No matter what investment decision you make it with the right intent. We will see you next week.